In today's show, we'll be exploring how to manage a lump sum of money for retirement income and protect it from the threats that can destroy it, like a declining stock market or rising inflation. If you've been frustrated over what's happened to your retirement assets over the last 10 years because of losses in your portfolio or reductions in your retirement income, this is a show you don't want to miss. The main reason that people fail in managing a lump sum for retirement income is that they don't have a disciplined strategy. You should know in advance what you will do if the market rises 20% or drops 20% and how you will react. Join us over the next hour and discover a strategy that can help keep your emotions out of the game and assure you long-term success in managing your retirement assets.
Today we're discussing how to manage a lump sum of money for your retirement income. Whether you're already retired or have many years to go, our disciplined strategy, when properly employed, is a way to protect your assets from market risk and at the same time create a hedge against inflation.
Now, Steve, in our combined over 46 years of managing retirement assets, I would say the two most common main concerns we run across with retirees and their lump sums, the first one is they just plain don't want to lose their money from market risk. And we've all heard stories of people losing needed retirement assets from investments going sour.
Yes, we have.
I mean, look at the people who held too much money in one company like General Motors, Ford Motor Company. I mean, if someone told you GM was going to go into restructuring 5 years ago, a lot of people would have laughed you right out of the room, but it happened. Kmart stock, we worked with people from Kmart Corporation who were married to that stock emotionally, wouldn't part from it. EDS, all got hurt. Or maybe they were just investors who were too committed to growth and they had to sell those growth investments at the wrong time.
Bill, in addition to that, the second main fear is running out of money before you die. Nobody wants to be broke on the planet. Some people, though, will run out of money from overspending, poor performance on their lump sum savings. Now, these concerns, losing money or running out of money before you die, are conflicting goals, because to not lose your money, you have to be safe. But to not run out of money, you have to get a good return, and they just don't go together. So how do we manage these two concerns?
Well, normally what we'll do is we'll set up a strategy, and what we set up is what's called a retirement income ladder approach. And everybody listening here today is different. So the concept, Steve, you and I are going to discuss here, it's going to vary from person to person. And later we're going to explain how you can customize the strategy for your situation. But for now, let's just explain the framework of our retirement income ladder.
Bill, let's say that you're 65 years old and you have $500,000 of retirement assets to complement your Social Security and pension income. You need to make this money last for the rest of your life and make sure that you can keep pace with inflation. Bill, how would we deal with a situation like this?
Well, as I said, this is an example. Everybody here listening is different. But what we might do in this situation is put about half of that money into fixed income assets. Now, these are things that aren't going to be affected by the stock market. And typically we use cash or cash alternatives like money markets, CDs, or fixed insured accounts, combined with conservative bonds or bond mutual funds.
These assets have little or no fluctuation and are very predictable and can be used when we need them without regard to the stock market fluctuations.
Yeah, so whether, let's say, you need money to buy a car, you need money to pay your property taxes, or some unexpected expense, by keeping at least half the money in fixed income, we can tap into this source without regard to market risk or stock market fluctuations.
So if we put 50% of our lump sum into fixed income and we're planning for 20 to 30 years of income, then 50% of our lump sum theoretically needs to last for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, Steve, and keeping at least half of your retirement assets in fixed income should protect you for income for the next 10 to 15 years. In other words, if you spend more than half your money in the first 10 to 15 years and you live till you're 90, you might end up being in trouble. Now, this allows me to then put the other half in growth-oriented investments for income later, 10 to 15 years down the road. Anyone who's out there in retirement and has money in growth, it's not for income tomorrow. It's not for income even 5 years from now. It should be for 10 years or later down the road.
Yeah, Bill, the main factor that takes the risk out of growth is time. But you have to be in a position to give the money time it needs to work through the bumps and the risks that are out there.
That's so true. And a lot of people, they're not in that position, and they run out of money, and they've got to sell these growth investments at the wrong time. Steve, once you've set up this strategy, you need to monitor the allocations. And when we have growth years, now we're going to talk about the market returns. Over the last 10 years, it hasn't been pretty, but there have been periods when there were upticks in the markets, and you monitor your allocation. And in your growth bucket, let's say you started with 50% at the beginning of the year, and you monitor your portfolio at the end of the year, you have more than 50% in growth, then you scrape the profits off the top and you reload the fixed income.
Bill, this disciplined investment process forces you to keep your emotions out of the game and sell when the markets are up, not when things are bad and you're getting nervous about the economy. The problem most investors have is that when things are going well and the stock market is going well, it feels good and they want to stay in it. When things are going ugly, they want to get out of it.
Yeah, this is a fact. In fact, if you look at peak investments in stock-related mutual funds, they generally occur at market highs, and peak redemptions are at market lows. That's the old buy high, sell low mentality.
Ooh, that doesn't work very well.
No, it doesn't. But that's the emotional roller coaster that you need to avoid if you're going to put assets in growth-oriented investments.
Bill, as we said, time is your biggest ally when investing for growth. If you look at the last 10 years, it's been a brutal market. The S&P index has grown at negative 0.99% per year over that 10-year period. But over the last 15 years, it's actually up 8.07. In the last 20 years, it's 8.23. And during these cycles, there were many opportunities to lock in the profits by selling off portions when the market was up.
Securities and advisory services offered through National Planning Corporation, NPC. Member FINRA SIPC. A registered investment advisor. Financial independence and NPC are separate and unrelated companies. Discussions are presented for informational purposes only and should not be construed as recommendations or advice.